A major blow to the search for answers in the Hillary Clinton email scandal. An Obama-appointed judge has once again dismissed a Judicial Watch lawsuit that would have forced the federal government to work harder, more thoroughly to recover then Secretary of State Clinton's missing emails. Judge James Boasberg ruled that the government has done all it, quote-unquote, reasonably could to locate any missing emails, and there are lots of them, despite reports that the State Department is sitting now on a backlog of tens of thousands of unreleased Clinton emails. Joining me now, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Tom, great to have you here.
Hi, Lou.
This is quite a night, and we are delighted you're with us to try to sort through all of this. Let's start with the special counsel now investigating an allegation that General Michael Flynn was involved in some sort of quid pro quo, apparently to either extradite, abduct, whatever you would, a Turkish cleric and dissident who's lived in this country for many years and return him to Turkey for millions of dollars.
Well, I don't believe General Flynn was involved in anything like that. The news would be these days if the special counsel is actually doing something the special counsel was hired to do, which is investigate Russia collusion. He really has no business investigating General Flynn for this. It's outside his purview, in my view, and it's further reason as to why it should be shut down. Now, if there's something to be investigated, the Justice Department should handle it directly. But this is not what Mr. Mueller was hired to do. And, you know, there was another report this week, Lou, I don't know if you saw it. Wall Street Journal says the Justice Department, the U.S. Attorney's offices, and other aspects of the Justice Department are investigating the DNC hacking. Mm-hmm. Mueller isn't. This was the basis for all the Russia collusion screaming we've heard about, that the Russians hacked the DNC. Mueller isn't even looking at that. He's just looking at everything but what he was hired to do, which suggests there ain't much to look at in terms of Russia collusion.
I think it does, if logic applies in this case, and that remains an open question, but the logic, yours is compelling. Why is there no oversight of this special counsel before we move on to a number of other critically important issues? Why is there no oversight, either at Justice or in the Republican-led Congress and Senate, that would return Mueller's attention to his mission, which is Russian collusion?
Well, I think the special counsel regulations in that regard are constitutionally deficient because they hire the special counsel, in this case Mueller, and the appointed officials we trust, who are confirmed by the Senate and answerable and accountable to the people, then take a step back and let him do whatever he wants to do, practically speaking. And that's why I think he needs to be reined in, the regulations need to be rewritten, and we need an uncompromised constitutional special counsel to do anything else. Maybe it's too late with Mueller, but I want to protect Hillary Clinton from a special counsel that's unconstitutional and out of control.
It's stunning. Judicial Watch, you've been blocked once again. How upset should President Trump be when he finds out that the Obama-appointed judge has once again blocked your lawsuit?
Well, he may not be surprised by that. Now, this judge,
I didn't suggest he'd be surprised. I'm asking.
But this is the second time we've been before him on this issue, and he was overturned on appeal once, and I suspect will be successful in the long run here. What he'll be angry about.
Let me interject, because you went off on surprise, and I'm not talking about a surprise. I'm talking about how concerned, how upset should he be, or any of us in this country, that a political judge has once again blocked the public's right to know, and secondarily, if you will, taken 2 years to get to an answer, which is no. This is outrageous, in my opinion.
Well, he's going to be more outraged at the fact that it was his administration who asked the judge to do what the judge did this week. The judge in his decision, Lou, said, you know, the administrations have changed, but the government stance hasn't. And the Obama administration didn't want to do it. And shockingly, the Trump administration came in, and they didn't want to enforce the law requiring the State Department to initiate action with the Justice Department to go and retrieve these government records Hillary Clinton took with her. So what's outrageous, you know, we don't like the judge's decision. But the fact is we shouldn't be in court given what this president promised and what his appointees are, you would presume, want to be doing. But instead, you've got his appointees, the Justice Department and State Department, defending Hillary Clinton in court. And in this case, blocking Judicial Watch's efforts to force them to comply with the law to go and get these records. That's the outrageous aspect of this. You know, to have a judge rule one way or another,
well, it's,
you know,
an
you take it as you see it.
It's an additional outrage, I will grant you that.
Right,
and
that's
we
for
were
sure.
trying to get some reaction to it. We haven't been able to get a straight answer. Have you? From the administration?
Well, we know what the answers are. We've been battling him in court since day one on this, and I don't understand why.
What is the answer then to this question that we're asking, which is why would the Trump administration's Justice Department not insist upon the delivery of these emails?
There is no answer. Well, I mean, we've pushed back, and they don't give us an answer. They just are fighting us in court.
We're on exactly the same piece of ground. Let me turn to a change, a hopeful one in light of what must be done. Fusion GPS, the judge overseeing the Fusion GPS records case, reassigned an Obama appointee, a Bush 41 appointee being moved in his place. Why? Do you have any sense of it?
I don't. I mean, my first instinct is that it was a administrative move by the court. They were rebalancing caseloads or something like that. If it was something more substantial, there might be public disclosure over the next few days on it. I'm not aware of any effort to recuse her outright. And usually if there's a recusal issue, there's a public discussion of it. So it's certainly curious to have the judge leave almost this case in the middle of it, but stranger things have happened.
We are at risk of a coup d'etat in this country if we allow an unaccountable person with no oversight to undermine the duly elected president of the United States. And I would offer that is precisely what is happening right now with the indisputable conflicts of interest that are present with Mr. Mueller and others at the Department of Justice. I join my colleague, the gentleman from Arizona, in calling for Mr. Mueller's resignation or his firing. Moreover, we absolutely have to see the Department of Justice appoint a special counsel to look into the Clinton Foundation, the Uranium One deal, and the Fusion GPS dossier that I will now have the opportunity to discuss. I really don't know who's investigating the Uranium One deal right now. I know that in July, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, along with 20 members of the Judiciary Committee, sent a letter to Attorney General Sessions asking who would be looking into these critical questions, demanding that a special counsel be appointed to conduct a thorough review. And it is extremely disappointing that the chairman of the Judiciary Committee and my fellow members have received no response from the Department of Justice as to that letter. I don't know whether the Attorney General's recusal on matters related to Russia impacts, influences, or in any way covers the Fusion GPS challenge and the incredible threat to national security raised by the Iranian.
A special order Tuesday night on Capitol Hill with several Freedom Caucus members now demanding Hillary Clinton be investigated.
Yeah, why not? Millions of dollars to Fusion GPS. Republican Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan is vice chair of the House Freedom Caucus and joins us right now. Congressman, what intrigues you? Why now jump in? What makes you think this is where the rubber hits the road?
I mean, think about what we've recently learned. The DNC and the Clinton campaign were paying Fusion GPS for the dossier. The author of the dossier was on the FBI's payroll. At least that's been reported that Christopher Steele was reimbursed by the FBI. Now, was that for the dossier for something else? We don't know, but he was on the FBI payroll during this time period. The dossier was likely the basis for the FISA court order to spy on Americans associated with the Trump campaign. And then, of course, we have what Catherine Herridge with Fox just reported a couple days ago. The idea that the Fusion GPS founder, Glenn Simpson, was hanging out with the Russian lawyer who met with Donald Trump Jr. in New York. He was hanging out with her the day before and the day after the meeting. So all that, I think, cries out for we better look into this situation and everything else associated with it.
Okay, so you're calling for the Attorney General to appoint a special counsel. Do you not trust Robert Mueller?
Well, we call for the Attorney General to look into Clinton, Comey, Lynch, Fusion GPS, Uranium One, all this. 3.5 months ago, we called for this. So, of course, this needs to happen. Robert Mueller, I think, in light of what we've also recently learned, relative to the Uranium One deal, surely seems a bit compromised to me. When he was the guy doing the investigation during the Uranium One deal where we learned about kickbacks and extortion and bribery, and he doesn't tell Congress, he doesn't tell the country, and he doesn't tell the committee responsible for deciding whether that deal can go forward or not, I think that puts him in a somewhat precarious position. So I think that needs to be looked in as well. But our point is look into all this, and the best thing to do would be for Jeff Sessions to name a special counsel, something 20 House Republican members of the Judiciary Committee asked for 3.5 months ago.
What is Jeff Sessions doing, number one? Number one, we have this terrorist downtown. We put him to the court system. He was crazy about that when he was a senator. We don't know what he's doing on this investigation. All we have is a bunch of people who recuse themselves as soon as something needs to be unwound.
Well, he's going to get an earful of questions next week when he comes and testifies in front of the House Judiciary Committee. Mr. Rosenstein is supposed to be in front of the House Judiciary Committee some point later. They're going to get a lot of questions. But look, 3.5 months ago, we sent the letter asking for a special counsel. September 28th, 5 of us went over and met with him and said, what are you doing? What we've got so far from the Justice Department is nothing but silence.
Sure. You know, Congressman, I think that a lot of people think that when James Comey essentially let Hillary Clinton off the hook and, didn't suggest that charges should be brought against her, people thought, okay, she is not in any legal peril going forward. But you're here today to tell us that's not the case.
Well, we'll see, but we should investigate. I mean, think about all the stuff that went on in 2016. I mean, I always ask the why question. Well, why would Loretta Lynch tell James Comey to call the Clinton investigation a matter, not an investigation? Last time I checked, James Comey wasn't director of the Federal Bureau of Matters. Why would Loretta Lynch meet just one day before the Benghazi report comes out, 5 days before Secretary Clinton's scheduled to be interviewed? Why would she meet with Bill Clinton on the tarmac in Phoenix? And then why in the days after, when she's communicating about that meeting, why would she not use her real name? Instead, use the name Elizabeth Carlisle. If you're just talking about grandkids and golf, you can probably use your real name. So you got all these questions from 2016, plus what we've just learned. If this doesn't cry out for a special counsel, if this doesn't cry out for more investigations from the House Oversight Committee and the House Judiciary Committee, I don't know what does, and that's what we're doing.
20 seconds left. What cost $10 million? Why did Chris Steele get $10 million from the DNC and Hillary Clinton, and we know it was the same account after Donna Brazil's book?
Yeah, I do not know, but again, underscoring why we need to investigate, why we need to get answers for the American people to these critical questions, because they're tired of the double standard. One set of rules for us regular folk, but a different set if your name is Clinton, Comey, Lynch. They're tired of that, so let's get this done.
All right. Well, let's see whether or not the Department of Justice and the Attorney General is listening to you.